Sorry about the echo, guys. Let me just turn this down really quick. Okay, sorry about that. Good morning, everybody. Hello, everyone. Welcome to my channel and welcome to my live. My name is Tanya, TitaniumBuilt, whichever you guys want to call me. I don't have a preference either way. Come on in, grab a drink, grab a snack, grab some popcorn, whatever you want to eat at 9:17 in the morning. We're adults, we can eat what we want. And let's discuss some true crime. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I did set the microphone a little further back. I feel like sometimes I'm screaming at you guys. So if it sounds like that, I'm sorry. Hopefully when I get my new mic on Friday, I can lower my voice and it doesn't sound like I'm screaming at you guys so much. But as you guys are coming in, if you could please be so kind to drop a hello in the comments. That way I know you all are here and we'll get started in a few minutes. Also, if you haven't yet subscribed to the channel, please do so by clicking the subscribe button below. I do have it on subscriber only in the chat for, obvious reasons because of bots and things. It just makes it a little easier. And you could be a subscriber for any amount of time. So you could always subscribe. If you decide you don't like the channel, you could always unsubscribe. So we also have a members only tab now. So it's for exclusive perks. And I did just upload 2 videos to our members only. So I'm going to, I thought I had the link on me already, but I didn't. So I'm going to get the link for you guys in case you guys want to join our membership. Let's see here. And then if you want to know what kind of perks and the exclusive things that you get with each tier, as soon as you click on my main page, it's right there. So there's a video that'll pop right up for you guys. So it'll give you all those details. Good morning, everybody. I see there's some really good peoples in the chat as usual. Good morning, Princess Mega, Elsa, Leslie, April. I saw you were here. Let's see. That was me. I almost said my name. That would have been funny. Isabel. I love that doggy on there. Good morning, Bob. Oh, I'm not. Of course not. I wouldn't be. But so we're gonna go ahead and get into it. We've had some things going on. I feel like within this case the last couple of days, actually just within the last couple of hours. I feel like within yesterday and then today a little bit. We're hearing a little bit more about the case, and we're getting some more pictures and more people are sleuthing some things out. So I figured we would go over that. Good morning, allegedly. So I'm going to just play you guys, it's just a quick video off of News Nation before we get into the rest of the story and or the rest of the case. I do want to tell you guys, I want to go back over also the taxi Uber driver story. I just want to go back over it and hear what he said. I have some questions over that. And then also, if you guys have any questions over anything that's going on with this case, you can drop them in the comments below and I'll try to answer them the best that I can. And hopefully I can answer them right away for you.
Brutally murdered. It has been nearly 7 weeks since 4 Idaho college students were brutally murdered in their apartment, and the horrific crime certainly put the entire community on edge. Police urging anyone with information to contact authorities. Still, there are no suspects. News Nation's Nancy Liu joining us now from Moscow. And Nancy, what is the mood in the town almost 2 months later?
Well, Natasha, locals tell me that it's definitely a different vibe around town with a national spotlight on it because of a quadruple murder. Amid the anxiety over the search for a killer, residents are hopeful that there will eventually be a return to a new normal. Even on a gray day, Moscow, Idaho is picturesque, and there's a strong sense of pride in this college town of about 25,000.
I think it's a great community, super small. I love walking down. Every time I walk down the street, I see someone I know, and I love that.
But along Main Street, reminders of a murder mystery that remains unsolved. The weathered memorial outside the restaurant where two of the victims worked makes it clear it's been quite some time since the stabbing deaths on November 13th.
Still very sad, scary. You're still locking our doors, which is new. Never did before.
Almost every business is displaying this poster, a plea for tips and information about the killings of Kaylee Goncalves, Maddie Mogan, Ethan Chapin, and Xana Kernodle. In their latest update, Moscow police said they believe someone has information that will add context to what happened the night of the murders. Investigators continue to seek pictures or video that may shed light, along with information about a white Hyundai Elantra spotted near the murder scene. Some residents are understanding that police have yet to make an arrest.
I think that it's pretty standard for what's happened. I think that law enforcement is doing their best, and I hope praying that they find the perpetrator for sure.
On Banfield, a Moscow resident whose daughter survived a deadly workplace shooting back in 2015, also expressing community confidence.
We're a small community. We are a safe community, and we have each other's backs for everything. That's why I moved here. And I thought I was bringing my family to a safer place, and I still believe that.
Now, the town remains fairly quiet with Idaho students still on winter break. In its latest release, the Moscow Police Department also thanked the community for its continued support and patience, and also understanding that only very limited information can be shared. Natasha.
Yeah, such a terrible situation for that community, and it just keeps going. Nancy Liu, live for us in Moscow, Idaho. Thank you.
Thank you for watching. Go to newsnationnow.com.
Okay, that was just like a short video I just wanted to show you guys because I wasn't sure if there was going to be any more updates on that, but we'll go ahead and I'll show you this ride, the Idaho ride share driver. I don't know, some things are just getting me kind of confused, so I figured we could go over together. Good morning, Adam. Also, if you, like I said, if you guys have any questions over the Idaho 4, murders, that's the case that we're talking about right now. If you guys have any questions at all, just drop them in the comments below and I will get to your questions. Also, if you could like the video as you guys are coming in, that would be great. That sends it into the algorithm and more people can enjoy it. So let's see here. Okay, so I have a question for you because I have questions for you guys as well. Why do you guys think, it seems to me, okay, and maybe it's just me that thinks this, but it seems to me like with the Idaho 4, a lot of the information that we have is mostly about Kaylee and Maddie. Instead of, all 4 of them collectively having equal parts of information. It seems like Ethan and Xana are kind of, they're not all 4 a group. It's not a group, it feels like. It feels like they've been split. And, Maddie and Kaylee get talked about, I feel like, in a lot of publicity a lot. And then Xana and Ethan, we really don't know a lot of the things that they did that evening. We don't have any pictures. It just is like there's just missing information. And so I just find that very odd. I wish that we had more information on Xana and Ethan as well, because I want them all to have equal parts of publicity, especially good publicity, So I'm just wondering why. Maybe it's because they were best friends and it's the 2 girls. Maybe it's because, Kaylee's father is so vocal. And actually her whole family has kind of been vocal since this has happened. Maybe that's why our attention's more on the girls. I'm just not sure. Maybe it even could be, I don't know, this could be out of left field, but what if maybe it's because Xana and Ethan were a couple and, Kaylee kind of had problems going with her boyfriend a little bit. They were like in the process of a breakup, and then her and Maddie had a boyfriend, and everything like that. I don't know, but I just wanted to run that past you guys because I was like, I feel like they're not getting equal parts here. And I really wish that I knew a little bit more about Zayna and Ethan. We did, I did do a video yesterday where I showed body cam footage of the officers going back to 1122 King Avenue or King Street to talk to them about having a noise complaint, and Zayna actually answers the phone this time, yes, or not the phone, I'm sorry, the door. She actually answers the door this time, so you get that interaction with her that we've never been able to see. We've only seen her on like TikTok, things like that. We've never seen her where she's candid. Adam, I agree with you with that. Yeah, we live in a very visual world. K and M are perceived as attractive, and I feel that is the primary reason. I agree with you there. And Bob said the same thing. That's what, yeah, so. Let's see here. Hey, LibCom. Let's see. I'll go ahead and play this one for you. And then I'm going to stop kind of as we go because I wrote some notes out, but I don't know. It's so okay, so let's just start with, I guess, the obvious, the title of this. So the title of this video is going to be Idaho rideshare driver comes forward. So I don't know if you guys remember, but in the beginning of this case, they were all saying that it was not like an Uber, that this was a rideshare. They were, I don't know, they were just saying, like, the family said it was not an Uber, that it was a private party. We had heard that it was a sorority sister. Then I heard that it was maybe one of the fraternity brothers. And then this title says rideshare. And now we're back to, when we go into this, it's going to say Uber. So which is it? Because a rideshare is different than an Uber. And then a friend coming to pick you up, from the sorority or a fraternity is different. They would be more like maybe a private party. I'm just wondering where their wording is coming from. They need to be more blunt with us. Like, they need to speak a little more clearly, because now I'm getting all these, I'm having questions. Yeah, they did interview the driver. I'm going to go back over it. I wanted to hear it again because I just had some questions over it before we go over to the GoFundMe.
Breaking news tonight.
And I also don't think that he had anything to do with it. I'm not saying that either. I'm just saying, like, it's just there's too many different things going back and forth. And I'm like, I'm about to do a big board or something so I can figure out and put all the facts out and just like strictly stay to the facts, because I'm getting like muddied. Do you know what I mean? And my brain is. Good morning, SRB. Let's see here.
30 days into the University of Idaho murders, and the driver, who was likely the very last man to see Maddie Mogan and Kaylee Goncalves alive, is speaking to News Nation tonight. The Uber driver who brought the kids home the night of the murders, Kaylee's family reported that their daughter had indeed ordered an Uber, and now the man who drove them is revealing exclusive details to us about that ride home and what the girls said in the back of that car.
So, okay, now, so we're just going to be sticking with it's an Uber. So now if we hear anything differently, that's going to be weird. Because if you're a private party, you're not going to have directions and maps on your phone and information on your phone, like who, placed the Uber, which I'm pretty sure we know who did. But, things like that. The map that they went to the way home, what time they arrived home, things like that. Also, when you work with Uber, you're supposed to, by your job is to get that person to their closest to their front door as you can get them, so that they're safe, and you do not leave until they are inside of their homes. The Uber guy, I believe he was. But I just feel like there's just like, I don't know if I just believe some of the stuff he says.
Our News Nation correspondent Alex Capriello is live tonight. He tracked him down. He joins me from outside the home in Moscow. That was a very difficult task. Tell me what you found out, Alex.
Yeah, I was able to find this rideshare driver. He's one of only about 4 here in the Moscow area. So I was able to track down that phone number and give him a call personally, speak to him. I asked him point blank, hey, are you the guy who drove Kaylee and Maddie home that night? And to his credit, he was very transparent, very honest, very open, almost immediately with me.
Well, understandably, he has said, Alex, that he is very concerned. It's a small community. He doesn't want to be on camera, but he was very revealing in what he told you about that ride home. Start there. What did the girls talk about in the back seat?
Well, he said that it was actually a rather innocent conversation from the beginning. You might remember that he picked up these 2 girls from that grub truck. It's the food truck that's located right in downtown Moscow. And really, he said that was the center of their conversation. The entire 5-minute ride home was about their mac and cheese carbonara that they were planning on splitting when they got back to the house. He said that he's picked them up in the past, not only these 2 girls.
Okay, I have a problem with that. So I was thinking, if the girls went out to the bar that night, so, okay, 2 girls, they're out at the bar. They have an encounter when they're walking by that camera. She says that she told Adam everything. So they had an encounter there with a gentleman. Do you know what I mean? Where they could have been talking about a boy right there. Also, they go to the food truck and they order their food. And they ditched, remember they ditched Jack at the food truck? So you mean to tell me that these girls ditched a guy and then they were talking with other guys and having problems with other guys? Remember, it was Maddie that ran into Joe at the bar. So right there's another mishap with a guy. I just don't see these girls jumping into the vehicle after having all of these mishaps over the night and then going, how much carbonara do you want? Oh, I don't know. How much do you want? And that's all that they talk about on the way home. They don't talk about nothing that happened through the whole night. Because to me, that just seems weird. I've taken a lot of ride shares or Ubers or whatever you want to call these people now. And I've always talked about my night in the back of the car, not how much food I'm going to get. I would worry about that when I got home. Really? They caught the driver lying by reviewing bus footage of a bus route? Really? Allegedly? I didn't even know that. Huh. Well, maybe I'm onto something then. Me too, Isabel. I want to know what she told Adam also. See, there's just things like that. I feel like they would be in the back talking about that or giggling and talking about something other than how much carbonara you want. Like, I know that it's only a 5-minute drive, I think, from the food truck to their home, but it's just, Okay, good, SRB. Thank you. She said, I'm getting what you're saying. Okay, good. Yeah, this is kind of weird to me.
Xana as well, and he said that in the past they've talked about boys and drama and college life, but not this time around. It was just a very normal, innocent conversation about their food and how they were going to share it when they got home.
So that's also revealing that he knew them. He had them in the car multiple times before. This is a small town, so if they've taken an Uber a couple of times, it would be likely that he'd be the driver. And he said, indeed, he knew them. He knew all 3 of them.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He said that obviously as one of only about 4 rideshare drivers in this area, he picks up these girls a lot. And not to mention, we already know that this is so close to frat row. And of course, we've reported that this is a party house. So a lot of times students would come here. And so he said that Xana, that Kaylee and Maddie were no strangers to them. He's given them rides home from the bars, home from work, home from school. So he knows them. He has driven them before. But back again to this, he said that there was nothing out of the ordinary that night, that right now or in that moment that it was just an innocent conversation. Of course, the frats were bumping on a Saturday night, but here at the house.
Okay. stopping it again, one more time, or maybe two more, maybe three more. Bumping on a Saturday night, he said. Did you? I'm gonna let him repeat that.
But back again to this, he said that there was nothing out of the ordinary that night, that right now or in that moment, that it was just an innocent conversation. Of course, the frats were bumping on a Saturday night, but...
The frats were bumping on a Saturday night. Okay, so we've heard ever since the beginning of this case from neighbors that it was unusually quiet that evening. So, which is it? Because neighbors that live in the neighborhood, they're known for hearing music they're known to hear music and stuff coming from this home. And they said it was unusually quiet for a Saturday night around there in Moscow, just in general, but really that house too. But apparently there was bumping. The frats were bumping. This guy said. Who let him write his own script? Or which teenager wrote this guy's script?
Here at the house, it was quiet, and he saw nothing out of the usual.
So as you reported earlier this week, Alex, the last thing that we heard on tape was the surveillance camera showing Maddie and Kaylee walking from the Corner Club bar to the grub truck, and the only thing we could hear was, Maddie, what did you tell Adam? And then Maddie responds, I told Adam everything. Was there any conversation in the back of the Uber car about Adam or the bartender? Because Adam turned out to be the bartender. Did he mention anything like that?
Yeah, actually, the rideshare driver said that he knows Adam. He knows he's a bartender, but Adam was not brought up once at all during that conversation. Again, no conversations about boys, drama, or any trouble. And as far as what the girls were feeling, he said they were not fearful. They weren't skittish in any way. But back to the food truck, also, I asked him about that. Hey, you were right there. Did you see anything out of the ordinary there? And he said, no, it was a Saturday night at the food truck. A bunch of college kids hanging out, ordering their food before heading home. You know, I brought up another person a lot of people have speculated about, the hoodie guy he's been referenced as. He said he didn't see that guy. He has no indication that anything was wrong there at the food truck, and certainly during that entire rideshare home, no indication that anything was wrong there out there.
So when the girls leave with that rideshare, maybe you guys will know this off the top of your head. When they leave, I wonder if they go out towards where, because you know the guy, like whoever picks them up, they back up, it looks like. So then it looks like they would go out. I wonder if they took a right towards where Jack was walking, or if they took a left to go home right there at that, you know, at that stop sign, like, you know, I'm talking about if you were to go straight. I'm wondering, because if they were to turn right there to go home, they most likely would have passed Jack, and those girls most likely would have talked about that. Like, oh, look, there's Jack. We ditched him a second ago, like, and laughed about it. I'm really wondering. I'm wondering. Oh. Okay. Allegedly, my nephew wants to do that with me now, he said. He wants to be the hand. He wants to get a green suit. So I'll have to do the Wednesday Addams dance now.
Okay, then what about the police? Because clearly, I would have imagined the police have a lot more, machinery and technological ability than sometimes we do to track people down. I assume that the police would have found him and that they would have talked. What did he say about being able to tell everything he told you to the police?
Right. Yeah, this was super interesting to me because he said that he didn't hear about the murders until the next day, and he realized, oh my gosh, these are the two girls that I had driven home, and I've driven home in the past. And so he was stewing on that for a little bit, but he was the one who eventually turned himself over to the police by calling the tip line saying, hey, I was the one who drove these girls home. The police tells the rideshare driver that they already knew he was the driver, but even still, he was the one who called in himself and said, hey, I was that guy. That being said, when he did that, called the tip line, he turned over all of his GPS coordinates from that night, sharing that he went to Taco Bell after dropping the girls off and then went home. And so that's the reason why he was cleared almost immediately, never been named as a suspect or a persons of interest, because all the data that he provided to the police proves that he was not there at this house at the time that these murders allegedly happened.
So the other question is, as you are standing almost, I imagine, in the same spot where they were dropped off, did he mention anything about the drop-off that was unusual? Anybody in the parking lot? Did he drive into the parking lot? Did he hear something, see something, pass anybody?
Ashley, the only thing he said was that he heard the frats doing their normal partying, but everything else seemed quiet, seemed normal. There were no headlights. There was no one following him. He says he's got a great memory, and he would know whether or not anyone was trailing him or if there was anything suspicious at all. As far as the drop-off, he said that he brought them right up the street here on King Road and dropped them off here at the foot of the driveway. He never pulls actually into the driveway because he says, based on his training, he always wants to be able to have a quick getaway in the...
This is Idaho. You know, okay, so when you are can you guys hear me? Let me know if you can, because for some reason it doesn't look like you can. Okay, I don't know if you guys could hear me, but okay, sorry about that. No, so he said he doesn't pull into the driveway when he drops them off. I don't understand that. Like, it's Idaho, it's Moscow, or Moscow, or however you want to pronounce it. It's not like this is a big city where he is going to get robbed, I feel like. These are college kids. I just don't like the way he dropped it off. Yeah, Leslie, right? So yeah, now he hears partying, but we've all heard this whole time that it was quiet. Let's see what else he says about the drop-off.
Event that something bad happens to him, like he gets robbed on the side of the road. But he dropped them off here on King Road. He watched them get out of the car. He did not watch them physically go into the home.
That's the last thing right here that I think with this part anyway, that I have to complain about. Why would you not? I mean, I've never even heard of that before. How old is this person that's dropping them off? Because you always, always, always wait for somebody to go inside. I don't care if it's your friend, your mother, your rideshare, your Uber, whatever it is. I don't care. You always make sure they go in. And Uber rules are that you do that you stop and you wait for that person to make it inside. Lyft rules as well. I've never driven in any other ride shares. I've only done Uber and I've done Lyft, but those are their requirements, is for you to park them as close to the door as you can get them. That way they, don't have any trouble going inside, and then you wait for them to go in. Also, these are two girls. I don't get that.
But he said that he trusted that they were going to be safe because he's driven them so many other times, and he knew that these two girls were together.
And that's another thing too. So he had driven these girls before, but he knew these girls, but still he wouldn't pull in their driveway because he was afraid that on the off chance that he could get robbed. I just don't like this guy. I don't like it. So that's all I had there. And then next thing here, I'll show you guys in a second. If you're just now joining me, please like the video as you come in, if you do like the video, that is. I do have it on subscriber only mode in the chat, only because it's easier for, bots not to come in as I'm switching through pages, because I don't have mods. I like it to be a little more intimate. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you the GoFundMe. Let me see here. I don't know if Bob is still in here or not. But okay, so a couple creators yesterday were talking about a GoFundMe that was set up to basically pay off Kaylee's new car. Now, all the families do have GoFundMes, but not all the families have a GoFundMe quite like this one, because this one wasn't even started by the family. Exactly, allegedly. Why would they rob an Uber driver? He has no cash. Also, one last thing about that Uber driver that I forgot. How late is Taco Bell open? That was his alibi. I mean, maybe it was a 24-hour Taco Bell. Do they have this? Because my smaller town and from where I'm from, they all close by 1 o'clock or something like that. And this would have been after 1 a.m., obviously, so. Now you heard the car, let's take the car back. Yeah, this was actually pulled down yesterday. And I think it's because people raised so much crap about it. And I wanted to go through it because there's just a lot of red flags, like a ton of red flags within this whole thing. I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. If you guys don't know what a GoFundMe is, have you guys seen this yet? Actually, I think some of you guys have. So Libcom, then they wouldn't, yeah. Then I wonder what Taco Bell he went to. You'll have to, I think that they told us, I think they might have said it, but I cannot remember for sure. So, yeah, so they had a GoFundMe for her lawyer, for the lawyer. I'm just going to say my little bit of piece on that. I don't feel like that anybody needed a lawyer this early in the game. That's just my personal opinion. I feel like this case isn't cold. This case isn't, nothing's going wrong with this case. The only reason why you would bring a lawyer into this is if there is something bigger going on that we don't know about. But maybe that's what it is. Because Ethan's family doesn't have a lawyer. Maddie's family doesn't have a lawyer. Xana's family doesn't have a lawyer. But Kaylee's family has a lawyer, which they set up a GoFundMe to pay him off. I think it was $68,000 they raised or something along those lines. So then there was another GoFundMe set up. This GoFundMe, yeah, she did, Dr. Lipschitz. So this GoFundMe was set up by Brooke Miller. And I'm going to show you that. And there was $440 raised before they took it down, and they are giving the donations back, I guess. But this fundraiser was still up whenever I went to make my my live today, like when I was setting up what I was going to talk about. And it still has a lot, I feel like, to do with the case because it shows people's character. And so, and if you'll notice right here, it's under funerals and memorials. Obviously, this is not a funeral nor a memorial expense. This is a vehicle. When you buy a vehicle, normally you get, like when I bought my vehicles, I've always gotten gap insurance, and then they'll ask you if you want to get, I'm not exactly what it's called, I'm not exactly sure exactly what it's called, but it's insurance for like if something happens to you and you're unable to pay the car off, in due time because you passed. Well, if she bought the car literally 30 days before she died, I don't know a car lot on this earth that's going to say, and under these circumstances, I'm talking about with the Idaho 4, under her circumstances that are going to say, nah, we're not taking that back. That's not going to look good for their business. If you want to be if you're a good business person, just in general, you're going to say, you're probably going to reach out to the family and be like, hey, I know that she just bought this vehicle. Let me help you bring it back. But instead, they decided they wanted to keep the vehicle. So I just wanted to read through this and explain to you guys what my little things were about it. But yeah, so they should have had, some sort of insurance for that. It says the week before, actually, let me read some of your comments really quick because I know they're going to go fast. Exactly, yeah, Isabel. Why does the family need a lawyer unless they feel like they're not getting information from law enforcement? Bob said, Steve Gonzalez has a biological daughter, Sam. Yeah, I saw that, who the Gonzalez family first denied and then admitted that Steve is unfortunately Sam's biological father. I saw that Olivia has a chat going or something. I'm gonna have to do a live on that later. I cannot find the chat. Like, I need to find it online somewhere. But I saw that they were going back and forth in a chat, like arguing. Yes, that's why when I said, there's a lot of stuff going on in this case, there really is. And I'm just touching on a little bit of it this morning. Oh, wow. Yeah, okay, so my it's TitaniumBuilt boo@gmail.com. But I'll type it in here too in the chat real quick. Because this is fishy. So let me go back to the GoFundMe. It says the week before Kaylee Goncalves was brutally murdered in Moscow, Idaho, she bought her dream vehicle. She was about to graduate a few weeks later. She had a trip to Europe already on the books with her friends in January. And she was well on her way to move to Texas to start her paid internship with a company that she was very excited to be a part of. Oh, and then also, did I tell you guys that this was Jack DeCour's aunt that set up this GoFundMe? I don't know. I might have left that part out. The kicker is, yeah. So that's who set this up. And it says, life was so good. All of her hard work was paying off. Christy, her mom, said the day she came home with the keys to the car, she was the happiest day of her life so far, and she was so proud of herself. She put $7,500 down with the help of her family and financed the rest, $17,000 through STCU, which I'm assuming is, the finance company. So she put $7,500 down, with the help of family, but that's still a lot of money that they put down. She was beyond excited, and the reason she went back early that fateful weekend to Moscow was so that she could hurry and show it off to her best friend, Maddie. Okay, so like right there, don't put this on Maddie, kind of. Like, I don't know, that sentence, I don't really like that. Like, she hurried back because she, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, I don't like that sentence very much. I don't like the way it was worded. Recently, after having received, like, you know what I mean? If it wasn't for Maddie being there at the college, she would have never went back to show her the car. Do you get what I'm saying when I say that? That's what it makes it sound like. It says, recently, after having received the final death certificate, her parents were getting ready to drive to Spokane to AutoNation and bring the necessary paperwork, which would have negated the deal. But they felt like they just couldn't do it. Okay, so right there, it tells you that they were ready. They had her death certificate, her final death certificate. So that means that she probably did have some sort of insurance on that vehicle to where if they brought the death certificate down there, they would annul the, or whatever it's called, annoyed, or, all annoyed, the deal, the contract. They'll rip it up. It'll be bye-bye. They get the car back. It probably had 5 miles on it anyway. She couldn't have driven that far. 100 miles? She didn't drive the night she was killed, so she wasn't driving it a whole lot. Let me check your guys' chat really quick. Credit Life. Yes, thank you, Josie Moore. Thank you. Dr. Lipschitz, and you might be right. No, like I'm gonna go back and look on the, like, I want to look at the tape again. I'm gonna look at it later. I don't know. My thoughts may be changing after seeing this crazy GoFundMe. Why does everybody have to do a GoFundMe? Anyway. I mean, no, I'm not saying that this family is one of them, or any of these families are, but a lot of families, I mean, the body's not even at the morgue yet, and they already have a GoFundMe set up. And I'm not saying these families at all, but I mean, it's a lot of families do that, and it's like, what is going on in the world? I know that funerals are not cheap. Believe me, I've paid for 2, so I know they're not. But I also know that cremations, they are cheaper, like a lot. So I don't understand why you would need all this money. Like, you know what I mean? Especially if you're going to do if you did a cremation, and I know who the families did, and I'm not saying anything bad about, that or all. I'm just saying I did a cremation with my mom. It was $1,000 compared to my father, where it was like 10 to 15,000. There's just a big price jump there. Oh, okay, yeah, I will. Let me see it. Give me just a second and I will check that. Give me 1 minute, guys. Let me check my. Okay. Let's see. Okay, yep. Thank you for sending me that email. I'll have to talk about that. So they could have, like, yeah, so like I said, they could have taken the car back, but they felt like, I guess they felt like they just couldn't do it. Why would you want to keep the car, is my thing. It says, this car has become a part of Kaylee that they want to keep forever. It is one more way to keep her close. Okay, so why don't Jack give Kaylee's parents the dog? Point blank, period. I'm not saying he did it. I've never said anyone's done it. I've never even accused this guy of doing anything. But if you're going to want to keep something, why not keep something that you can have inside your house and you can look at it, you can play with it, you can watch it grow. This puppy's only a year old. Why wouldn't and I know Jack needs a piece of her to Kaylee, but Kaylee, but it doesn't matter. That's an ex-boyfriend. This is her family. Give them the dog. I'm trying to show a comment, but it's not letting me. Okay, sorry. Sometimes I have to like go on the iPad and like let your comments go through. Which is weird because my channel was 18 and up. So I don't understand why they don't just give her the dog. Yeah, he already got the dog. Exactly, Adam. Like, why don't he give it to Kaylee's parents? Instead of them having a car and having to pay or having other people pay $17,000 or them pay $17,000 for a vehicle. As soon as they get in that car, they're not going to want to drive it. They might want it now, but they're not going to want it in a couple months, maybe a year from now. It's going to lose its value. Cars do that without even, if they sold it, they could probably even get more for it. Even if they sold it right now and then they paid off the loan and then they kept the rest of the money or whatever. So this is the best part. This is the best part right here. So make sure y'all are listening because she says, I feel like we could raise this money by Thursday. Well, that's today. Kaylee and Maddie's Memorial Day. If everyone shares it around the country, it would be one less thing the family would have to worry about. Are you in? Let's go. Like, are you a coach? Is this a basketball game right here? It says, if 170 people give $100, it would be covered. How many of you guys have $100 that you can just throw away, that you can just give to somebody right now? After Christmas, getting ready to be the beginning of the new year, eggs are twice the amount they've been ever alone. Milk is crazy. Gas, you might as well walk wherever you got to go. Or Barney Rubble it, Flintstone. Yeah, $100. Now, I spend money on stuff that I shouldn't. So I probably have $100 around here. But there's no way I would put that towards somebody getting a vehicle. Maybe, definitely maybe a funeral expense. It is a funeral because it says right up here, funerals and memorials, but no, it's a vehicle. And then it goes on to say, here, cost of living bullshit over here. Yes, Princess Megan Elsa, you're right. It's so bad. Every time I go to the grocery store, I want to cry. It says, thankfully, the goal for their legal fund has almost been reached through the overwhelming support they have received nationwide. I propose this idea sort of as a Christmas gift to the parents. If this goal could be reached by Sunday, what a surprise it would be for the family. Okay, so now it's Sunday. Oh, this must have been last Sunday. Okay, so last Thursday. Okay, no, wait, last Thursday, that wasn't the memorial. So maybe she's giving us more time now. So, okay, it seems like we only had till Christmas, and now we have till today. Because isn't there a memorial today, or isn't it tomorrow? You're right, Dr. Lipshins. It seems like the family has money too. I believe that they do have enough to where they don't need this help. I mean, this is crazy. You don't see Ethan's parents asking for the go and have a GoFundMe for the remainder of his car, or Zaina or Maddie. I just don't get it. There's something we're missing here with them doing GoFundMes like they are and getting lawyers like they are, and there's just something we're missing, or I don't know. And then it says, I figured anything that would bring a little bit of light to their life right now is worth trying. The family will not be celebrating Christmas this year, as I'm sure most of you with children can understand. It's just not possible to celebrate anything at this time. There is too much sadness and anguish. God bless all of you, and thank you for any support you can give, whether it's $5 or $100. All is welcomed and appreciated. A heartbroken friend of the family. Well, okay. Oh, look, you can contact her. Can you really? Let's see. Oh, never mind. Yeah, so that's the GoFundMe. Yeah, no, the aunt. Yeah, I don't know. Like, so I'm assuming since it's set up by the aunt, it's the payments are set up to go under her, like cashed out to her. That's just what I'm assuming, anyway. Yeah, too early for a private investigator too. The PI won't interfere with Ellie. You hire a PI when Ellie has stopped investigating. You're exactly right. Yeah, like I don't understand why they're hiring all these people already. They're just ready to. I just don't get it. Why do you need a lawyer? Like, why do you? I mean, if you were okay, so I'm one of those people. I tell people to go get a lawyer. Like, if you are like, if they think that you did something, if you were in the hot seat. If you did nothing wrong, or if you did do something wrong, go get a lawyer in that instance. But don't go get a lawyer because, you're not getting answers you want. You can't do that. It's going to mess up the investigation. That lawyer's not doing anything anyway, but just sitting there. $68,000, I'll go get me a little suit like he's got, and I'll go there and sit next to Mr. Goncalves too. Me too. I just don't feel like I feel like there's people that really need the resources. Like there's families out there that really need these GoFundMes. And they really need this money to go search for their children. And I'm going to tell you right now, Dylan Rounds, example, 1. This person got $440 for a car. Like, it's so crazy. Yeah, exactly, Leslie. And that's what they did. They did one for the funeral expenses and everything. And that's also, they should. But because it isn't, it's a very unexpected expense and you're not thinking straight. But it's just crazy the way that they are doing it for a car, and then they're putting it under funeral expenses. Yes, like the family is also questioning Ellie. Said the investigators were wasting time. Investigating the ex. So I don't know what I think about Jack DeCour now. It isn't necessary, but I think they seem like they just can't sit there. Yeah, I feel like that too. They just don't know what they need to do something. Let me see here. I'll have to, I'll have to read some of those things that she's wrote. Dr. Lipschitz, I think I'm saying that right. I'll have to read some. I'll have to find out if I can get on her Facebook more and dig into her because it's crazy. Oh yeah, it looked like Leslie sent me some stuff too. I saw that there was some stuff sent, but I didn't get a chance to read it. Oh, I didn't see that Bob had posted that, I don't think. And he was in here. I don't know if he's still in here or not. Let me see if I can share it. figure out how to share this later for you guys. That's insane. Do you guys have any questions over this case so far? I have tons of questions. I'm not gonna lie. Let me see if I can. Yeah, that was all of that. Okay. I'm gonna have to start me a GoFundMe. I'm just kidding. I don't need a GoFundMe. I don't even know what I would start one to say. Let's see what the, oh, I had a poll going. So yeah, 75% of you guys think that this case will be solved. So I'm excited about that, you know, because I think so too. Okay, so also if you guys are just now joining us, we are talking about the Idaho 4 murders. And if you wouldn't mind, as you guys are coming in, if you would just like the video, it just really helps the channel grow, and it really helps me out a lot. And comment your thoughts below. We would love to hear from you. Let's see. I had a couple other videos I was going to show you guys that I thought were kind of worth watching. Let's see here. Okay. Let me share this with you. That might be better, huh? How is everybody doing today on this like fabulous Thursday? It's freezing where I'm at. It's not really freezing, actually. It's beautiful. It's 47 degrees, almost 50. But it's just dark and gloomy. Adam was the crime scene adequately secure. That I do believe so, but you never know. And oh, and I saw that other comment. He's just promoting his own business. Yeah, you're absolutely right about where he's just promoting his own business. I believe that. I know, SRB. Can you believe that? So, okay, I accidentally thought that I only needed 5 more subscribers yesterday to get 3,000. I don't know why I thought that. But I actually needed like 60 more or something stupid. I don't know. It was bad. My math was really off. I like just glanced at it real fast. But yeah, and so yesterday I really kicked some butt because I thought I was like close to 3,000. And I was really only at like 2940. And right now we're sitting pretty at 2985, guys. So I cannot wait to hit that 3,000 mark. We're totally growing. I love that. Why were some of the bodies cremated so early? I don't know if they were actually, well, I guess that is kind of early, but they usually will do them. They want to do them as soon as possible. They don't want to sit, if they're like released, do you know what I mean? If they don't need anything else on the body, if they did a full autopsy, toxicology, they did everything and had everything they needed. I'm sure they took extra samples of blood and all those specimens, tissue, all liver, all of that. I'm sure they have all those extra, and I'm praying they did, extra specimens. That way, if they need to go back and retest, they will have those. But I don't know if they will or if they have or not. You know, but they should have done that. Have you covered the leaked CCTV screenshot? Someone leaked that for a reason. Yeah. Are you talking about the one at the bar, the corner club? Because we did yesterday. And yesterday I wasn't sure if that was Jack on the video, and now I'm looking at it and I'm just not so sure. So I mean, I'll admit whenever I'm wrong. I don't know if I'm wrong or not because I said I didn't think it was him, but I don't know now. Yeah, the coroner wasn't good, but they sent the bodies out to be actually autopsied and stuff. She basically just rides with them to the funeral home or to the morgue and stuff. Yeah, cremation is so final. You're right. You're so right. And I'm wondering maybe they, I don't know why you would do cremation with a child unless they said they wanted to be cremated. I don't know. Because my mom told me she wanted to be cremated. That's why she was cremated. My father never told us what he wanted. He just said, don't put him in a pine box. Like, you know, something that he's going to like not be secure in. And so that's what we did. We made sure that he had like the best little casket ever on the earth. So we buried my father. So that's what I don't know. I don't know why they would cremate so fast. With our mother, we did it a couple weeks later or a week later, but that's only because we didn't do an autopsy on her. So it's just weird. Exactly. Yeah. Speculation is being done. Yeah. And I'm like, and I'm just like, maybe that was him. Exactly, Dr. Lipshin. Yeah. I said that I wanted to be the official new coroner for where I'm from. I'm just going to go be elected. I'm just going to go be elected. Okay. So we'll play this one. This one's kind of long. It's 22 minutes, but it's Law and Crime Sidebar. I really like their podcast. The title says they have suspects. Ex-sergeant believes Idaho police on verge of breakthrough in student murders. I don't know if you guys have seen this, but it just came out, so I figured I'd show you guys.
Like I said, I can't discuss that. It's part of the investigation, but as soon as we can release that information, we will.
The Moscow Police Department releases some updates in the University of Idaho murder investigation. But what does it all mean? Retired NYPD Sergeant Joseph Jackalone breaks it down. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime. I'm Jesse Weber. We have some more updates for you right now in the University of Idaho murder investigation. I'm talking about the killings of 21-year-old Kaylee Goncalves, 21-year-old Madison Mogan, 20-year-old Zana Kernodle, and 20-year-old Ethan Chapin, whose bodies were found in their off-campus home back on November 13th. Now, at the time of this recording, there have been no arrests, no publicly identifiable suspect, and no indication that the murder weapon has been recovered. But as I said, the Moscow Police Department has issued a press release with some updates. And to help me break down these updates, I want to bring in Joseph Jackalone, retired NYPD sergeant and author of the Criminal Investigative Function, 3rd edition. Joseph, thanks for coming here on Sidebar. We really appreciate you taking the time.
Thanks for having me, Jesse.
I'm going to go through some of these different points, and then I want your reaction to it and what this means. So the first 2 points are, let me rephrase, I'm not necessarily going in the order of which it's listed, but I think this is the way that I think we should structure it. So 2 points that they have in this press release are, number one, they say no suspect has been identified and only vetted information that does not hinder the investigation will be released to the public. We encourage referencing official releases for accurate and updated progress. All press releases and related information is available, and then they give their website. They go on to say that investigators believe someone has information that adds context to what occurred on the night of the murders and continue requesting additional pictures, video, and social media content. Our focus remains on the investigation, not on an individual's activities displayed in the tip. Whether you believe it is significant or not, your information might be one of the puzzle pieces that help solve these murders. And then it says digital submissions of tips and leads will not be publicly disclosed due to our ongoing commitment to keep information private, and details may be pertinent to the ongoing criminal investigation. My first question to you is, does that alarm you? Because doesn't it make it seem like they're not as advanced in the investigation as you would hope?
No, not yet. I mean, I am concerned about how things are progressing, but you have to understand something. The police department always holds back information. They don't provide things that will be detrimental to the case. And we have seen a large outpouring of information coming from the true crime community. And some of it has been just wrong and it's just been actually awful. So they have to try to kind of combat that. And if you look at this bullet, there's a lot of things that they're saying in here we're not saying in there, right? So there's a lot of what I refer to as cop speak. So they're trying to tell everybody, listen, we haven't come out with anything publicly yet. That doesn't mean that they don't have a suspect or suspects. But what it does tell everybody, it kind of puts them on notice that anything that comes out basically outside from the police department is you kind of not pay attention to it, because they're not running the investigation. The Moscow Police Department, the state, and the FBI are all involved in this, right? So the Moscow we know is the lead because I don't see a federal nexus here, right? Not yet, right? We're not privy to everything. But here's the other thing when you look at this. There's an old motto that all investigators have, and that is somebody knows something. And that's probably universal throughout the entire United States. And the idea is to try to get those people who have maybe witnessed something that they thought was strange. You got to remember, this is a small community. This is, when you think about it in the grand scheme of things, small university, people coming and going. You have family members, everybody. This is national and international news. And what they're hoping is that somebody has spotted something that they thought was out of place. And the time was this really to come out with information like this was in the very beginning when this crime happened.
But when they say no suspect has been identified, does that mean publicly identified? That doesn't mean that they haven't found anybody. Because the way that I looked at it, if they had someone on their radar, I think based on what we've seen, they're not going to tell the public, right? They're not going to tell anybody yet until there's arrest. I'm reading that and saying they really have no idea who did this yet. We need more help. Maybe I'm looking at it the wrong way. Maybe they really do have some suspects, just they haven't publicly identified the suspects. How should I be reading that?
Well, yes, they're not going to, listen, I think that they do have suspects or people that they think are involved in this crime, whether it's an individual or individuals. I do think they have a focus on specific people. And the reason why I think that way is because of the DNA and all the different things that they've taken out of the house. I think that they would try to maybe key in on a couple of people. You got to remember, cell phone records, internet records. We saw video surveillance, which I refer to as the 3 forensic horsemen. Those 3 things, they're putting these pieces together. Now, the case is not moving as fast as the public wants, but that's not the way these cases work. You have a quadruple homicide. This is something that is very time consuming. And the problem that you run into is with the DNA is that there might be multiple donors in a house of this kind of situation where it's at a college campus, and they're going to have to cull through a lot of these things. So I believe that they have people that they were looking into, right? So they might need a DNA exemplar. They might need to be able to eliminate people. They're not going to keep, they're going to keep the public and specifically the perpetrator guessing, right? This is not checkers where the police move and the person move. You have to play chess, right? You're thinking 3 moves ahead. And then sometimes in policing with these criminal investigations, you have to play poker, right? Where you have to bluff people. So the lack of a specific target or anything like that, or even hinting at it, I think would be really bad idea, especially the way the true crime community, some in the true crime community, has been really looking into these cases and coming up with their own, wild theories and kind of like some have actually interfered with it, right? We're seeing the release of videos and everything else, which is not good.
And I'm going to get to that in a second. I do want to focus on one other aspect, the murder weapon. We don't have any indication that it's been recovered. Having said that, is it possible the police department has recovered the murder weapon, but they just won't tell us?
No, I think they would tell us if they recovered the murder weapon, right? So the issue, unless they want to try to track down where it was possibly bought, maybe there's a serial number on it so that they can actually, trace that down. We have federal agencies involved in this, right? So we have, the FBI working on this. We have access to databases and those kind of things where they could find out. So listen, finding the murder weapon is extremely important in this case, but will it identify the person who is responsible? Maybe. You got to remember, the person who bought it might not be the responsible person who actually committed these acts, right? It could have been somebody bought it, somebody stole it, somebody bought it in their home and somebody took it from their home, right? Unbeknownst to the owner. So those things all have to be taken into consideration.
You had mentioned something about, people online getting involved and that could be a distraction. Well, one of the other bullet points in this Moscow Police Department press release is they say, at the time in this investigation, detectives do not believe that the female associate professor and chair of the history department at the University of Idaho suing a TikTok user for defamation is involved in this crime. The Moscow Police Department will not provide a statement about the ongoing civil process. Now, to give everybody a little bit more context about this, there was a woman on TikTok named Ashley Gillard, self-professed tarot card reader, who claims in a series of posts that a University of Idaho professor named Rebecca Schofield is the actual.
So we did a live on that the other day. So if you guys want to check that live out, you can. It was about Ashley Schofield, the TikTok user that, that's the professor. The TikTok user that accused the professor of committing this horrible crime. We did a whole video on it. That lady is seriously out of control, and she is being sued for defamation. And I really, really, really hope that professor wins that case. And I also want to let you guys know that the police they cleared her. Or they said she was, I'm sorry, they didn't say cleared. They said she's not a person of interest. So I am glad they came out and they did say that. Just to shut that TikTok user down, or up, just like shut her up. And also, she was a tarot reader, but she had no tarot cards, like ever. She couldn't even do the act right. Like she couldn't even pretend right. Oh man. Oh, sugar and spice. That's good that it was good so far. Just don't sit them on top of your car or anything. I had a friend do that with her like grandmother or something, and she laughs about it now, but at the time it was devastating. Yeah, it's going to be hard for them to prove it, but I hope that they do, because someone needs to be held accountable. Maybe it'll stop other people from doing the same thing. And then also, if you guys are just now joining us, we are talking about the Idaho 4 murders. If you would like to join the channel, we'd love to have you. Hit the subscribe button, hit the like button, all those good things. And we're just watching Crime and Law and Crime Sidebar. They just came out with this video, I believe it was like last night, and it's just talking about the case a little bit more in depth.
Killer. She makes the allegation that Schofield was in a relationship with one of the victims and killed everybody.
His and hers, some totally different readings. It looks like he will be put to judge way before she does. They will be slow in arresting her. She's gonna first go to another job. She's gonna leave her current job and start writing. She's gonna focus on her writing and she's gonna isolate herself. So she's gonna leave. That's after she backstabs the killer. She's not gonna live up to her promises for him. I mean, she can't. So it's a change of plans. That's where she's gonna get out of Dodge. She'll be isolated in some like cabin or a house somewhere. She's gonna focus on her writing.
This is like the first time she had cards in her hand.
She's gonna lose her case. She's gonna go to jail while her trial is pending. The final verdict will reveal that she's guilty and that she wasn't the person that everybody thought she was. See the zombie? It may take a while for this all to happen.
Now, we know that Professor Schofield has sued Galar for her comments. And I'm curious, when you look at that, the fact that they had to come out and say she is not a suspect. What'd you make of that?
Well, I'm sure the professor's attorneys are very happy with that bullet, right? Because it actually leads off the press conference. So it kind of leads credence to that this was all nonsense and this is basically fabricated. You can't accuse anybody of anything, name names. First of all, what's happening, you're going to get yourself sued. But the thing that I'm worried about is that you're going to get somebody hurt, right? It's irresponsible to name somebody or focus in on a specific person. Whether, I'm not even going to say it because of the fact that there are people out there who will target this individual and may cause physical harm or what have you. I mean, we have to be very careful. And, the true crime community, most of them have done, what they want to do in respect. They're interested in this case. They're looking up things. They're trying to help. But there is a small contingent that is wreaking havoc. And we're going to see those people weeded out eventually. And if it requires filing a lawsuit, if it requires, a takedown order or a cease and desist from lawyers, I think that this is unfortunately where we're headed. This might be, Jesse, the biggest case so far we've seen with social media influence, to date, for sure, as far as I'm concerned. That's my opinion, of course.
Maybe influencing an ongoing investigation. I remember the Amber Heard Johnny Depp trial. Man, social media was all over that every 5 seconds. The problem with this is, it takes resources and time away from the police department to address this and put it to bed. And obviously, what's really interesting is Miss Gillard has doubled down on her claims that the professor is the killer. So something there. But there's another point in the Moscow Police Department press release. They say there have been numerous inquiries from members of the public and media to verify digital media published online. Any picture or video provided through the official public records request process is authentic. However, once a record is released, we can no longer verify its authenticity, as we do not know if anything has been altered. Detectives are aware of videos distributed by local businesses. What does that mean?
It's quite unfortunate. We've seen at least one video released in its entirety.
What did you say to Adam?
where we had basically, it was the thing that really was interesting is that it was recording audio. Now, you'd have to ask a lawyer about this, but from far as I was concerned, you can't record audio unless you're part of the conversation. So to me, that was an interesting thing. So everybody who's walking by, we heard, so that was where the whole thing about Adam came up, right? Like, what did you do to Adam? I think or something, some and substance like that, where they were talking about the girls were walking down, and of course, everyone jumped on that. So that was an unfortunate release. And we now saw, I think, a still photo of something inside the bar.
Yeah, let me address that real quick. So there are reports that there's this newly leaked image of what could be Goncalves and Mogan inside a bar at 1:32 a.m. on the night of the murders. It's an image apparently from a surveillance video. Again, it hasn't been authenticated. Now, remember, it's believed that they got home close to, I think, 2 a.m. and we believe that the killings.
I do have one thing to say. Oh, okay, Leslie, have a good day. Oh, I hope your neck feels better. Take some Tylenol or something and lay down for a little. I will say this, though, about the video or about the still picture. I was just thinking about it earlier. If you look closely, like the body language of the three people, I know you really can't look at this picture, but we did it on my last live. But it appears more like Maddie is closer to this gentleman than Kaylee is. Almost like she's like standing in between his legs, almost. Like if his legs were spread, like if he's sitting on the bar stool with his legs up, your legs will, like you bend your knees, they spread out a little bit. It looks like she's more introverted, like into him than Kaylee is. For that to be Kaylee's ex. I just wanted to point that out. I might have to pull up the picture again on our next live and blow it up. And then did you guys also hear that some people were going around saying that the guy in the hat was Chief Fry? That's not Chief Fry. I don't know who started that, but that's something.
Happened between 3 a.m. and 4 a.m. Yeah, talk to me about what you make of that image that's circulating online.
So so we have another release. Now this is actually probably some of the worst things that you can see what can happen in this situation, where we have either businesses who are sharing this with true crime people and they're putting it out on the social media or on YouTube or what have you. This doesn't help the investigation, right? This actually only now compounds issues. And we see the police department do this a number of times where they're answering out things specifically from the public, right? And that's not even the media or the press. This is, we don't have, journalists and reporters asking for this stuff. We have people from all over the country. And, here's the other thing. And not really many people are talking about it. They've had over, I think they said 10,000 tips, right? That's kind of unheard of, which means to me that most of the tips that they're getting have little to no value, but the police department has to go through each and every one of these things. They have to be answered out somehow. So these are time consuming. And you saw the FBI adding, I think it was 10 agents. If we're chasing down leads that have nothing to do with it, and then complain that this is taking too long, I think we can kind of figure out exactly where the problem actually is. We don't want to turn people off, and they specifically said kind of that kind of cop talk in there too, that even if you think it's not.
I'm going to have to pause that for a minute, since I'm not the only person who thinks that picture might be faked. We might have to go over that picture on another live tonight. The chief of police always gets thrown in the mix eventually. You're so right. Yeah, because I was telling Vincent last night, I was like, the shadows on the picture look off. Like, some of them don't have a shadow, or I don't know how to explain it. It just, something looks off. So I'm going to have to go back over that. We'll have to do another live on that tonight.
Important, send it to us anyway. So yeah, they don't want to prevent somebody who might know something from doing it. But here's again, I mean, they're dealing with an enormous amount of information, and I think that's slowing them down too.
Let's talk about the amount of information that's coming to the Moscow Police Department, the amount of tips. So another bullet point in their press release is they say Progress continues to locate the white 2011-2013 Hyundai Elantra believed to be in the immediate area of the King
Road residence during the early morning hours of November 13th. Investigators believe the occupant or occupants may have critical information to share regarding this case and have identified over 22,000 vehicles. If you know of or own a vehicle matching this description or know of anyone who may have been driving this specific vehicle on the days preceding or the day of the murders, please forward that information to the tip line. Now, this is something that the Moscow Police Department has been looking for what, the last 2 weeks or so? What is your take on the fact that they haven't been able to locate it yet?
Well, because of the fact that the information that went out, as far as I'm concerned, it came out later on than it should have. I think they should have released that information much sooner, and that would have been the time to put a reward out for it, right? Especially right before Thanksgiving, when all the families and everybody's come together, people have gone home from school or what have you. That was your opportunity to try to get some information out there. That being said, it's a good sign that they still believe that that car contains a piece of evidence or the person involved in it in this case. So that's something that good, because eventually it kind of fell off the radar, so to speak, in previous press releases. So I'm glad to see that they're bringing that back. Now, finding a car with no plates is extremely difficult. And what happens is there are tools that the police department use. I'm sure they went to the university, because generally in colleges, I'm not so sure about the university here, but they usually require you to register a vehicle to park in that location so that we don't get people leaving their cars. So I'm sure they went through that avenue. And then the other avenue is you have to go through the DMV. Now, going through the DMV and asking for every white Elantra, there you go. 22,000 cars can show up. Now, that could just be from Idaho, right? Because remember, you also have to look at it's close to other states like Washington, right? Because the autopsy was done in Spokane, I think. So you now have to create this huge circle, and you keep on going out. And quite frankly, that is an amazing task that they have to go through, because they don't have any other identifiers other than it's a white car, and we think it's an Elantra, right? We don't even know for sure. So, yeah, I think they're hoping that the public once again would help out with this. And people say that they discounted the one that they found pretty quickly. Well, I think that's but here you go. If anybody who was responsible for that crime murdered these the three women and this man, all that blood, all that thing, dragged it with them. They got into that car. They dragged the evidence with them. They will be able to tell right away if that's the car. I don't care what they try to do with it. Now, here's the other thing. You think we might find the car somewhere in a ditch, somewhere set on fire, somewhere, thrown in a lake? That could also be a possibility, because there's no plates. We don't know. And that's going to be the problem trying to locate this car. You tip off suspects, and that's what the police don't want to do.
Yeah, and that car that you had mentioned, they ruled out the owner of the car. The car was registered in a different state. They found it, I think, in Oregon, and they said it didn't have a relation to the crime. I wanted to ask you about, because Chief Fry, the Moscow Police Chief Fry, has said the reason we're not releasing more information right now is we are concerned about an eventual prosecution down the line. In fact, he went on to say that they wouldn't release the 911 phone call that was apparently made by the roommates the morning after the murder, where we believe other people came to the house too. There was a report that they told 911 of an unconscious person. They won't share more information. They won't release the 911 phone call until they get the AOK from prosecutors.
Well, you always hold back information on any case that you work, but one this big, you hold back because you want to have an unbiased jury pool. And it's not just about today. It's about in a year from now or whenever we make an arrest and go to trial. We want to have that pool of people who can look at the case and not have all the facts to that to make the decision to find this person guilty.
Is that standard operating procedure? They're concerned about a prosecution down the road. He said he was afraid of tainting a jury pool.
Well, no, it's absolutely important. So when you're investigating any homicide specifically, you have to believe that this case, you're going to catch the person and that this case is going to trial. And you have to dot your I's and cross your T's. Now, here are some issues, though. We saw statements made by the coroner that what I thought were pretty bad, in respect of locations of wounds, how they were I've never seen that before. And then we saw the prosecutor himself doing interviews and making statements about telling people they think they should give themselves up and this and that. once again, I've never seen that before either. So, and I think we haven't seen that now in a few weeks, and I think people finally got the message on that. If I was the chief when that was happening, I would be extremely upset over this because, once again, you're preparing for court. And at one point, I even did an interview. I said, at this point, I think that the state attorney should be looking to maybe take over this case after hearing what the prosecutor was saying. And I think that still is something that could happen down the road, because once you make public statements about a case that's an investigation that's ongoing and you're talking about things, it could be detrimental to the case because of the fact that, remember, this is if you live in New York or Chicago or Miami and you look at Moscow, Idaho, I mean, this is like a neighborhood in those kind of cities. So it's a small place. And yes, you can taint your jury pool. And then you're going to go through the thing about people trying to say, the defense attorney say we want to take it out of the area because they're not going to get a fair trial. I mean, it just adds all kinds of things to it.
And of course, we know that the prosecutor from the Lafayette County prosecutor's office basically came out and gave conflicting information about, was the house the target? Was it the people that was a target? That was a whole big mess. Before I let you go, Joseph, I want to ask you something real quick, because it is being reported that Moscow PD officers who are investigating this case are being offered counseling services. What do you think about that?
Well, listen, mental health and policing is something that has to be addressed because of the fact that, you see a lot of things, and you got to remember, they really don't deal with a lot of homicides, and this must have been a bloody scene. You're talking about a state, I think, that had 41 homicides reported in the entire state last year. So, this is something that is important. I mean, we saw it, of course, with Sandy Hook. We saw it like with Uvalde. Yes, mental health things are something extremely important that police officers should receive.
And the gruesome nature of these killings, right? And that's the thing that we can't forget about it. Joseph, I'm going to give you a final word, 30 seconds. Do you have confidence that this case will be solved by 2023 in the next year?
Yes, I do think so. You got to remember, this is going to be patience. Maybe, hopefully within the next 6 months, as they're culling through all this information and looking for things, you have the state involved, you have the FBI involved. I think that you have a lot of good men and women that are working this case.
Joseph Giacalone, thank you so much for taking.
So I also wanted to tell you guys one more thing before I let you guys go, because this is kind of important, I think. Maybe not important to you, but important to me, important to the facts of the case, because we like to stick with facts sometimes, every once in a while. No, we do like to stick with the facts here. So let me see if I can pull it up, because I have it right here, probably. It's probably right here on, yeah, right in my bookmarks. So let me see. It'll show it. Okay, there we go. So last night I was listening to a live, and they were going through all of the Cash App receipts from like Ethan, Zaina, Kaylee and Maddie, what they were being sent to, what they were being used for, mostly speculation, because if they don't write it all the way out in a memo exactly what that payment is for, we are only speculating, obviously. But one of the things that popped up, it said bar stools. Well, there was a creator that said, yeah, they split the bar stools up by like one person bought a bar stool, but she didn't say it like that. She said that each person bought the materials to make a bar stool. So she was insinuating that they made these bar stools, that these bar stools were made, that were in the house, that these were not bought, that these were actually made. Like, you went to the lumber yard together, got your supplies, got your wood, they're not even made of wood, got your wood, got your nails, and you got your seats or whatever, and you nailed them, and So that's not what happened. I don't know what it meant by bar stools. Maybe they had bought the bar stools, like one person bought one bar stool each, but they didn't make them. So people are saying that those were made, and they are not. So you can even see right here, they're metal bar stools. I even commented on the live. Let me see if I can get a better picture. Probably not, because this is a video, but we'll see. But we've looked at these a million times. They're metal bar stools. Yeah, you think they bought them used? Yeah, like those bar stools. Yeah, and you can even see the ones in the back. They're all made of metal. Yeah, they're definitely metal, Marilyn. Yeah, they're metal. They're like those little they're like junky ones you can get. You know, like they don't cost too much. Like because they're not going to spend a lot of money on stuff. They're college kids. But when they were saying that last night, I was just like, no, those are not even if they were wooden. Which kid went to shop class and learned how to freaking do this? You know what I mean? Like, woodworking isn't just something that you do. Like, I mean, my family's, they've all built houses. It's not something that you can just do, So I just wanted to point that out. But yeah, I'm still stuck on those bar stools too. But that's really all I had for you guys for this morning. I do want to go back over the picture at the Corner Club maybe tonight, because I feel like that picture is just, I don't know. The more I look at it, the more I don't think that it's real. So maybe we can debunk it somehow. Oh, you know what? Heels in the air, and those would be the bar stools to do that with, like to cushion them with. Or those little wooden ones. But I am going to jump off of here. I really appreciate you guys all spending a little part of your day with me, and I will be back on this evening. So if you guys haven't liked the video, please do so by just hitting that like button, hit the subscribe button. We're almost at 3,000 subscribers. Hopefully we'll make it there by the end of the day. And I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye, guys.